should have started. Cool, it is started. I I had already said that. I already did that bit. It was updated. I had updated that. Ah. Oh my goodness. uh, this is scary. Um, I'm just kind of chilling for a second. I want to see if anyone joins. Oh, what the hell just happened on my laptop? But casually just sitting here with this knowledge, and I am very scared and very interested in seeing how that goes. Um, yeah, so we are going to beat today because why not? And we are going to have some fun because why not? And if I get this last part of the last requirement for affiliate, I'm probably gonna cry because I didn't realize that I hit 25 followers. I hit the follower goal. I think I'm my own currently, so I'm just rambling to myself. I I don't even know how to process that. I don't know how to process this because I got 25 followers. I got that goal, which I wasn't expecting to hit for a little bit, but I'm 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 at 25. So I don't know how to process that. uh, yeah, I'm just sitting here, chaotically wondering what the heck's happened. Um, but hello. I don't know who's just tuned in. Hello, whoever you are. Hi. My name is Minerva. If you've not been here before, we're going to be playing some Peak today because why the heck not? It's really fun. And yeah, so it's just, yeah, there's no other person here. They probably just tuned in for like 2 seconds. Realized I wasn't saying anything and then the mosquito. Anyway, let's go. I'm going to load up Steam and start loading up Peak to play because why the heck not? I need to find Steam. Goodness. I should have had a bit more prepared. What the heck is Steam? Okay, apparently Steam was not in my apps menu, which is, I'm going to pin that to my start menu because that's so stupid. Okay, so library in my games, we're going to load up Peak. Oh gosh. Oh god. Damn. Okay, so we're going to load up Peak. Quickly. Oop. Stay like that. Okay, and this is when my headphones decide to not connect properly, which is so fun. So fun. We're going to change over to the gaming tab because then we have everything prepared and we are ready to go. I'm just going to quickly try to get my headphones working again because otherwise I can't hear a thing. And I don't want to die to a zombie if I am in the, goodness, My goodness. If I am in the words roots. Can my headphones please connect? Yeah, these are definitely not connected. What the heck? What the heck the heck? One out of a Nopex. Can I please get my headphones to work and connect to the right device? That would be amazing, please. So that I could maybe hear my game. We're never gonna have an unscuffed stream with Minnie, are we? I'm just chilling here. Minnie is just chilling. Ooh. Ooh. There we go. There we go, now I can hear. I just heard the little didn't, and then my PC was connected. My headphones were connected to the game. Let's go. Okay, so, first off, we're going to change the outfit because it's not Wednesday, so we're not pinky in pink on the Wednesdays because it's not Wednesday. So, just quickly go back into the Al Casual typical outfit of the Minerva, which, no, I changed you. I'm hoping you didn't hear that too loudly. There we go. There's my usual teehee. Anyway, we're going to have some fun. And, yeah. Apparently, potentially get affiliate today. I don't know. Let me just see. Okay, so let's just go. SM3, let's go. We are going to peak today. I think we are going to peak. And the reason I think we're going to peak is the reason also I was not going to stream Dinkum today because, number one, my Bing Bong plushie arrived. So my Bing Bong plushie arrived today and I decided that maybe he... What the hell? What? Hi? What on earth? What? Hello? I didn't... Okay, that's a thing. I'm gonna just quickly get my things sorted. Because that's a smart thing to do. I'm honestly thinking that it might be wanting the bugle, maybe? Maybe. I don't know. But why the heck not? So I'm just gonna quickly try something because I'm curious now what this thing is. See, it looks like the Peak Scout is holding a bugle. This guy. So, does it do anything? Like, it's got a lot of fraying. Why is there a lot of things all over it? It might be something to do with the gaming awards recently that I'm curious if it does anything. If I give it, like, for example, that doesn't help me. I don't know. I don't. I'm now curious to see the notes on this game because what the heck is this patch note? Where's the patch notes for this? I need to learn what's going on here. Peak patch notes, because there was a patch recently and a bunch of new merch. Last week got a bunch of things released. Major fixes: players in offline mode will likely get the same map rotation as they would if they were playing online based on the local system account. Quitting from the pause menu during end game credits will no longer break your game. Fix an issue with the fixed an issue when pressing the sprint key on controller while sprinting would end up not sprinting. Climbing on vines and chains should be less weird stuff. The rope storage. The statue has been added to the shore. What's the statue? What is a statue? Okay. We have no context as to what the statue does, but we have a statue now in Peak. Okay. Are you saying it's about the game award? Ping Pong is depressed. Oh, hello Metroid and hello Brusca. How are you both today? I just noticed people are in here. Like, I didn't get their messages straight away. Goodness. Anyway, hi. How are you? I've discovered that we have this guy. He feels very, the Greek Isles inspired, this guy. I don't know what it does, if it does anything. It just, looking at the patch notes, it mentions that the statue got added, but it doesn't say what it is. I have no idea what the statue is, but we have it apparently. Anyway, we're gonna peek. We're gonna have some fun. Confused by that. Minnie is very confused by that. Doing good, just digging out the tunnel for gear, how everyone block out. Very fun Metroid. It's related to the artist BBONOS somehow from their YouTube. Interesting. I don't know who that artist is. Minnie is chronically online while also being chronically offline at the same time. Ooh, I got 2 chain launches. That's very nice. Very handy. Okay, so we're doing Ascent 3 currently. We are doing Ascent 3 with the regulars of items way more. No. Items way more damage when falling, and items way more. No, damage when falling. Items way more, and you lose more. I think you gain more hunger quickly. You gain hunger more quickly. Those are the 3 Ascent related things, and I think we're going to peak today. I think maybe today will be the day. Okay, looking at this, I think I might go. Straight up though. We're gonna go straight up and have some fun. And as you can probably see from the title of the stream for the both of you, I currently sitting where I am right now, I have every requirement needed for affiliate minus the 4 average viewers for one more stream. So if I got 4 average viewers this stream, I would better get affiliate. Which will probably make me cry. Because that is insane to think about. The idea that I get affiliate this early? I don't know. Yeah, Metroid, I could get affiliate tonight, which is absolutely bonkers to think about. So, the Rescue Claw is really cool, Booska. So, it seems you have not played Peak in a while, by the sounds of it. The Rescue Claw is very similar to the chain launcher or the rope cannon, except it takes you with it. So, would you like me to give you a demonstration quickly? I'm more than happy to give you a quick demonstration of what the Rescue Claw does. I can't play Peak on my laptop. Oh, that's pain. Okay, would you let me... Are you sure you don't want me to give you a demonstration? Because I'm more than happy to. I'll probably get one later. That's why I'm saying that as well. Whoop! Please don't take damage just then. It's dawn. Doing co-op, you can use it on... Yes, so basically what it is, Booska, is the claw of this can either grab onto, for example, a tree or a bush or whatever, and basically yank you up. So if you're being chased or you're in a really dangerous situation, you can basically you can launch yourself up really high when you might not have the stamina to do it otherwise. So it can be a really good a game-saving mechanic, because I could just basically just catapult myself towards that area over there, wherever I needed, if it was able to. So for example, with the roots being added and zombies, if I got zombies and there was one chasing me, I could use it to... Gay raffling hook. Gosh damn it, Booska. Booskaboo. I see you in my chat. Gay raffling hook. Gay raffling hook. I don't know how to feel about that, but honestly, slay. I don't know how to feel about that, but slay. Just enjoy. Nope, not gonna get in there. I should feel happy. Well, yes, I should feel very gay, Booska. Since gay is another word for happy. Joyox. Yes. Ooh. Hello? Hello? Is this a little pathway? Hello? Nope. Not a little pathway. Never mind. Wait until my stamina heals up, then I climb. Oh, Booska, I don't know if you know, but I got beef with auto mod. Yes, Metroid does have beef with auto mod. No. Hoi. We also have beef. No, Booska. Last stream, auto mod flagged Metroid for using the word fart. Fart. She said shit in my chat afterwards. Automod did not flag shit. It flagged fart. Because I mentioned the remedy fungus, and I said I farted. And I think Metroid said the fart of safety or something else like that. Yeah, dick as well. What, an issue on... What do you mean an issue on my part? Hoi! What do you mean an issue on my part? What the hell, Booska? What the hell? man. We hate auto mod in this family. Honestly, it's fair. Ow! Currently, I'm the main mod of this channel, Visca. We've got the farts. Metroid, look, it's a fart. It's a fart. We got the fart cloud. Metroid, can we have beef with Automod tonight too? It'd be funny. Over there. No, alarm, go away. My alarm telling me, oh, it's bedtime. Let's get this part together. Hi, Gigs! Yeah, it... Okay, it did actually flag. It did flag you again. But hi, like, Gigs, how are you? Hi. Welcome to stream. This is the first time I think you've actually caught my stream. You're awake. Fair. Honestly, very fair. This is the first time you've caught my streams, actually, which is insane. And as you've seen by the chat, the name of the stream, I am one thing away from getting affiliate, which is a crazy thing. This is your first me stream? Damn. I thought I'd caught you at least once before, Busco, in my streams. Anyway, oh, you're usually asleep. That makes sense. You're gonna try it. You know what? Test auto mod. I dare you, Metroid. It's really funny to me. It's giving me a lot of entertainment right here. I wake up to be sad that I missed another one. Busca. Yes, not today, obviously. I will be honest. I would probably cry, Gigs. You'd probably catch me crying. It's first stream you catch with Minnie and you catch her crying too. Because I don't know how to process that idea. Like, I didn't think I would ever get to that opportunity. And also not this quick. I thought I was going to take damage. I didn't think I'd get to this quickly as well. Anaro! Metroid's trying. But the thing is, Metroid is maybe try the Japanese characters. That's the next thing. Try the Japanese characters too. Yeah, I'm currently just really, really grateful for the community we have, like the group of friends we've all got. Apparently it doesn't get flagged. Apparently Twitch does not care about the Japanese, which is insane. Like, Japan is a wonderful country, I think. I've never visited Japan personally, but it would be a wonderful country to visit, I think. And they do not recognize fart in Japanese. Are we talking katakana or kanji? I don't know because I don't know Japanese. I just know Metroid's trying to piss Automod off. So... As a student taekwondo who can speak katakana. We've got tropics! Two, actually. Damn. I was hoping not, because despite it being really freaking pretty, it's a pain in the butt, Busca. Where's the last one? Where's my final Kokon? Oh, my final Crocodus in my inventory. That's where it is. Okay, cool. Bye-bye. What does this scroll say? Gather around the fire. Okay. The flag, it is a checkpoint. You know what? Because that is not as easy. Bullying! Metroid! She read pedo. Me over here barely being able to speak English on a good day. English is my first language. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Gigs, honestly, same. English is my first language. Also, Metroid, you've now been flagged twice this stream for sex-based terms and then bullying. I want you to be aware of that. That is what Twitch is flagging you for. And I find this really funny. Okay, so we are going down. How does automatic flag... I don't know. Maybe because pedo could be short for, well, you know, the other word that we don't like. Like, we don't like those people. We do not like those the people who fit in that category. Because... Well, actually, no, we don't like the people who fit in that category who act on it. Because they're disgusting. Yeah. It's just a prefix. I don't know, Metroid. I do not know why that got flagged. I'm assuming because of, well, the word I'm thinking of. Yeah, fart. Metroid just flagged fart again. Yeah, fart got... Yeah, make it 3. Fart is apparently a sex-based term. Apparently a sex-based term. I don't understand how. I don't understand why a person would like that in terms of that referencing. Said as a person... Well, said as a person who is asexual. I'm not going to continue from that. I'm just going to... Crunchies. Even though it's a banana, so it's not crunchy. I don't know, Gigs. Apparently Automod is flagging Metroid's messages for sex-based references. Which I don't understand. It's a sexually based term. That doesn't make sense to me, but apparently it's a thing. So I bet questions to whoever thinks it falls under that category, instead of just a dumb child screaming, "Fart!" Because that's a thing too. Oh. Hey Busca, want me to waste a rescue claw because I found 2 others? By the way, I would never mention anything sex-related ever. Yeah, you use the word sex, it's gonna say it's sexually explicit. Metroid. Sex related. Waste 2 rescue clause. Wow. I'm just gonna leave that. No. Metroid, understand this. I will stop rescuing your butt eventually. Eventually, I'll just stop rescuing your butt. I'm sorry, Brusca, because... Ah! Freak! 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 This guy fought. The ground farted. The fart was very stinky. Brusca, stop. Begging doesn't look good on you. I'm gonna say that right now. Begging doesn't look good. Rescue claw. He's trying. Are you trying to get into my like maternal, like, like, like mushy side? Cause I will fall eventually, probably. What do you, what was the exclamation lurk meant to do? I haven't gotten any commands set up. I need to do that. Okay, and apparently because we can't do bits, like redemptions of channel points, so we're just gonna say it's hydrate. I have a Milo. I forgot about the Milo for a minute, so it's tepid. But I still have a Milo. If you have a drink with you, take a drink. Just don't drown. Please don't drown. We don't want drowning here. And please put the knife away. I don't want to be threatened with knives and drowning. Control your children, please. Unless it's Ray. We don't need the knives. You know what? I'm messaging Ray. Control your kids. I just message Ray. Control your kids. Ray is my partner in this family tree. What do you mean Ray is your partner? Which family tree are you referring to? The heck? What? Fishka, I swore you had come out of the closet, yeah? Like, you're gay! You're gay! Ooh, bees. There's 2 beehives. It's me, Bunny, and Ray who have Fox in office. They are adopted children, correct? They are your adopted children. Stolen? Who did you steal them from is my next question. No! No, come here. I need honeycomb. Nope. You stole your children from a church. Not a church, the church. I get that. doesn't add anything to the major context I am missing. But okay then. I think it's the Church of Booskaboo. He stole them from his own church. Religion. Gosh damn it, Booska. There's two of them. No! Seriously. Rose! Hi! How are you? Metroid has been flagged twice today. She's hit... No, 3 times today. She's trying to get to a new record, apparently. Ugh, friggin' hell. Ooh, ooh, ooh. I'm trying to get honey currently, Rose. I'm struggling. I know, though, there was a shelf fungi pretty close by, I think. Uh. There's 2 beehives right there. I want bees. No, it's an achievement. I'm trying to go for an achievement, Booska. There's an achievement called the, it is, gosh damn it, what's the word? It is the, achievement, like, no, not the Nomad. It's like the Gourmad achievement. Nope, don't do that. Just goes down, says F it. What the heck? Well, thank you. I didn't know I could just grab a beehive. Huh. Damn. Yeah, honeycomb is excellent, Booska. And basically the achievement is if you eat a, what is it? Goodness. If you cook and eat a half coconut, yellow winterberry, honeycomb, no, oi, I'm keeping that, yellow winterberry, cooked honeycomb, winterberry cooked honey. Okay, so yellow winterberry cooked honeycomb, the cooked coconut, and the cooked egg. Then, yes, we do need to find the capybaras. Then the next biome. Then that would be quite easy to do, honestly, because I've kind of learned how to look for them. Like, I know what to look for when it comes to the capybaras quite easily. So, yay. But yeah, I need to find the capybaras after into the next biome. And then we need to find eggs. We need to find eggs. You know, the huge damn eggs that are in the caldera before the kill. Because if I cook all of them and eat them, and I've done this before, by the way, it is possible, and then I have to peak. I need to peak to get this achievement. It is one of those achievements that's like, you need to peak in order to get them. Which is really fun, not at all annoying. Can I sleep? Can I sneak underneath? If I snack underneath... No! Let me in. Okay, never mind. You're not gonna be nice. Apparently not. Yeah. Nope, don't climb. Do not climb. Clear all the Clear! No! The condensation! Clear! No! The condensation! Get in the water! What? Ah! Freak! 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 No! 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 Oh, there! I hadn't seen those. Cool. Anyway. That's cool. I really don't give a damn about those. Because I will go this way. Jade! Hello! How are you doing, love? There's another beehive! Look at that! There's another one! Well, I know what's gonna happen if I die. I'm not gonna go for that double beehive that nearly killed me last time. I am not getting that beehive too, Booska. The last bees nearly killed me. And knowing my luck, I will not get past the tropics. If I do. How are you going, Jade? How's your day been? Booska, stop holding the knife out. Put your knife away. Put the knife away. Hopefully your appointment went well. Really do hope that went well. Yeah. No, Booska, put the knife away. Put the knife down. Also bought Christmas socks. I love that. I love that so much. Booskaboo 42. Booskaboo 42, put the knife down. And crap, he's now got arson. Do I need to contact your wife? Partner. Whatever the hell Ray is. Do I need to contact your partner? One of your partners, Ray. Ray is being. She is a being. What, an intercelestial being? Is that what she is? Okay, so. Oh. Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. Interesting. Interesting. Okay, so. Making my cooking pile currently. Cooking. This is for the cookery. Hello, welcome to my cooking channel. Booska, put the freaking knife down. Put the knife down, Booska Boo. Mesa! I'm gonna be very open when I admit this. I love Mesa. I prefer it over Alpine. I do actually prefer it quite a bit over Alpine. At this point, honestly, should I just put that in there? Take this. Should I just chug the drink and then just jump down? Should I jump? Should I chug it and jump? Save an inventory slot? Wait. There is a reason why I wanted to chug it. Wait, what? Oh, because I need to get room for the thing. I've got milk. Should I chug it? Chug it and jump? Chug it and jump? Or no? Looking at this. It's over there. Ah! Crap, 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 crap. Nope, nope. I got too close to Mesa. I got toes burnt. She's too hot, Your Honor. She's too hot. Oh, there's a tornado. That's delightful. I think that's capybaras. No, it's a mirage! It was a mirage? Shoot! So where is it? Wait, so just verifying this completely. There's no... You're a toad. This is a butter knife. Get blamed. Great, I blame Booska for awakening the gremlin in me. Goodness gracious me. It's the mountain. It's on the mountain. No, it's not. Booska. Booska, no. Shoot. I got hit by a tumbleweed. Okay, so basically, Booska, for the Mesa, so for the capybaras, if you are in Alpine, it will be on the mountain. If it is in Mesa, it will be in the first half of the map. So it'll be in this beginning bit. That's why I am looking over here. Because it's commonly in this first half. No, it's not Scar safe. He would die. Oh, there's an ancient luggage. Ancient luggage. Oh, it's a tumbleweed. I thought that was a tornado. See, that's definitely an ancient luggage. It's the middle of the day. What, Bugle of Friendship or the Scout Bugle? The Scoutmaster's Bugle. Which one are you thinking? Bugle of Friendship would just be sad. The Big Boy Bugle? What is that supposed to mean? Is this heal? Oh. Oh, and there's the, that is the antlion. I'm not doing that. Why is the antlion so close? Oh, crap. Crap. I'm not doing that, Booska. Crap. To revive someone. So if I used that on a teammate, it would revive them, but they would become a skeleton. So they would not be able to take any type of... Shoot. I hate these stupid tornadoes! Frig. There we go. Yes, for us, it is useless. Cool. This luggage. I'm trying to find these damn capybaras. Come on, peek. There's two of them! Seriously? 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 No? No? Please no. Please no. 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 No, 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 no. No. Shoot, shoot, shoot. Let me remove them. So no, that one's a mirage. Ah! See, this one's the mirage. There isn't like one nearby. Oh, there! There! Aha! Over here. Okay. Got it. It's in the backpack. Yellow winterberry procured. They are very cute. But we have to continue because otherwise... Ah! I don't want to deal with anything bad happening. So... Yeah. Yes, I will agree, Metroid. They are very cute. Oh. What are you up to at the moment, anyway, you lot? I know Metroid's digging out at Gear Heart, like the tunnel. Anything else fun going on for you lot? I'm supposed to be studying for my final today. My last final. Damn! Okay, Booska, what's it for? And when is your final going to be? Is it scheduled for today? Because you should be studying. Okay, so Jade is knitting a small shawl sweater. Booska Boo 42. Study for your exam. I do not give a damn if I'm streaming. If you need to, deafen. I don't care. Just, if you want to be a counted viewer, do it. Worst comes to it, if I have to, I will temporarily ban you from this stream. If I have to temporarily ban you so you go study, then I will. You need to study. Especially if it's your final. You need to study. I mean that with everything. I will do that. I will temporarily ban you for X amount of hours if it means you study. Do not test me. So please, if you need to study for a test in 3 hours, good job. Thank you. Have a lovely time and good luck, Booska. And he's meant to be my father-in-law. He's meant to be my father-in-law. Love you, Booska. But yes, the scolding slash bullying does work like a charm occasionally. Most of the time, honestly. Thank you very much. I'm hoping I get some luggage soon. Or a bomb, I don't know. If I get a bomb, then I can blow off like a, I don't know, scorpion. I cannot, for any reason whatsoever, eat that winterberry. Unless it is absolutely freaking necessary. I cannot eat the winterberry. No way. Anyway. Also, Jade, I would love photos of your shawl or sweater. Like, shadows. You said that bomb, I heard. Wait. I know you said bomb, but I heard, and not going to be shocked if this gets flagged, bong. And funnily enough, Metroid, that didn't get flagged. Like, that was let through. Ooh. I would like to put this in my inventory. Nope. Ow. I will share pics when I'm done. Awesome. I would love to see that, Jade. I'm looking forward to it. I need food. I've gotten up this mountain before with a lot less stamina. That's fun. Ooh. By the way, I will get onto Wildcard later as well, probably. Nope, go around, go around, go around. Don't waste my stamina. Oh my gosh. Let's just use this. It does basically nothing. Oh! Food! That is heaven. Honestly, that's wasteful at this point. Mushroom. Keep running, keep running, keep running. Go further. Wait. There we go. Switching between knitting and playing MC. You know what? That sounds like fun. That sounds like a lot of fun. Oh. I have an idea. Cooked. Winterberry. Consumed. That. Inventory. That. Inventory. Inventory. On my back. Let's keep going. It looks like an exit. It's at the edge of the map. Nope, yeah, that's a border. That's border of the map. I hate those borders. It's so stupid. Go, 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 go. Come on. You can make it, you can make it, you can make it. Yes! Gremlin, you can make it. Itchy nose. I have an itchy nose. Ah. Ah, there is another side. Awesome. Oh, and there's a border again. For those wondering, I can't go further. This way. I cannot keep going. That's too tall. Yeah, no. While that could be really good, I don't think that's happening easily. Actually, I could make that happen. Now I glitched my way through. Yes? Nope. Okay. No! Oh. It's dead end. Delightful. That makes me even more determined to get through this gap. Come on! It's not gonna let me through, is it? It's gonna be menace to society and not let me through. Oh. That's the gap think. I have no idea. Anyway. Aha! That's a non-viable option. Ah! Hey, that's why the backpack trick works. Right there. Teehee. It's a cheeky method to get through small crevices in the map. Aha! Look at us! We're making good time too, I think. Okay, so we've been streaming for over an hour. I don't think, not all of that's been Peak. Like, I think 10 minutes of that was me ranting. So we have been playing Peak this round for about an hour now. I think I honestly could get this sooner. Ooh! 2 luggages. Parasol! 3! No! Ow! Ooh, food. Lots of food, lots of munchies. My belly was very hungry, so I'm very grateful for the food. Woo! Oh, my backpack's on my back. Rescue claw. More food. Oh. Ah! Somehow I didn't die from that. What the heck? What the frick, man? Mint chocolate chips. That is definitely not an egg. Not a suitcase. I thought that was a suitcase. That was not a suitcase. Anyway, I hope you two are having a pleasant time, though. Watching me try to peek and almost dying. How many times now? I passed out a few times during this game. Hi. You're gonna eat my lunch. Bye, boy. Boom. Where's my munchies? Haha. Thank you. Hoi. Let's see how long the grocery shop's internet holds up. Hello, Prof. Hello, hello. How are you? Hi. Hope you're doing well. Ah! That's not a good time. Ah! Ow. But oh my gosh, hi. Welcome, Prof. Welcome, welcome, welcome. As you can see, we're currently peeking. Oh, that's an incinerated floor now. Oh. I'm not. Booska, you should be deafened. You promised to have deafened. Study for your exams. Study. Leave. Don't be watching my stream. Please, go study. Don't fail because you're watching a stream or something. Okay, my method of escape is over there. Also, Booska, announcing yourself. Prof. Over here with the puns. Ow. Yeah, Booska's been threatening me with knives today. There's been a lot of knives. That is rude. Oh, okay, never mind. He can't hear me, supposedly. Yeah, he's got a butter knife. He's been threatening me with a butter knife this whole stream, Prof. My father-in-law, everybody. He is threatening me with a butter knife. I don't believe you, honestly, Booska. And you should be deafened. That proves you're not deafened. Deafen, Booska. Okay, love you, buddy. Go away. Booska, I've already threatened it. You know I've already threatened it, and if I have to do this, I will. Actually, I don't even need to do it because Prof's here too. Already had a better weapon and mostly want to use it against people trying to self-use. Kicked a man myself with one of these. Damn. Okay, Prof, I'm going to give you complete permission. If we need to block Booskaboo from watch, I'll kill the man once with one of these. If we have to block Booskaboo so he goes study for his exam, I give you full authority. Deafen and study. The mods had powers this whole time. I'm just instilling them. You could. I was suggesting temporarily banning him, but we could. Definitely do that. Also, please everyone remember to take your meds. I just remembered. It's 12:45 and I need to take them. Whoopsie. I had them next to me. So, I've just taken them. Yay. So, take your meds, hydrate, all those good things. Make sure. I hate the taste of my meds. Disgusting. Good, good. I'm glad you took your meds already, Prof. If you need to take regular meds, take them, please. Also, it is so damn hot. Hydrate here, not drowning unless it's Ray. Or unless you're extremely dehydrated like myself. Oh. Should I just go in a circle? I don't know, but we'll find out. I think I went I don't know if I went in a circle. You had water bottle in hand already. Wonderful, Prof. Wonderful job. Also, Prof, currently with you, well actually I don't know if it counts you as a moderator, I don't know. But currently, I've got the people here, goes and gets the fire hose from some random fire truck. We can fix that. From not having a water bottle to, damn, you wanna drown everyone, Metroid? But, Prof, with you currently here, love, I have 4 viewers. Ow, rude. Thank you. Leave Pearl's 5 trucks alone? Why Pearl? Why does Pearl have a fire truck? Okay, I'm using this because otherwise I don't want to die. Put the checkpoint flag in here. Yep. Hey, look at that. Prof. I beat you. She's a firefighter this season in HC. And Prof, I beat you. Metroid, for someone who hasn't seen what Prof and I would have seen, we got the cheap viewers dreambow.com removed the space from a random bot account, so. And I'm kind of making it silly because I banned it for Prof. First person you could think about with a fire truck. What about Fireman Sam? Fireman Sam, Fireman Sam, that's the best that he can. Also, prop, I got beef with. Yeah, we know you've got beef with Automod. We know you've got beef with Automod. Metro Prop was here last time. She was helping me unblock your messages. Yeah, that doesn't help. You're on mobile in the grocery shop. Thank you for hanging around anyway. We got the Book of Bones again. If Brisker is watching this, he's gonna giggle and be like, please, Minnie, let us use the Book of Bones. Let us use it. No. No, thank you. Let's see what the scroll says. I just need an... Oh... Oh, I hate this. The bonus rules. Okay, does everyone here know the lore of Scoutmaster Myers or no? Do you know the lore or no? Okay, with Scoutmaster Myers, the lore... Okay, so you know how if you go above your friends and leave them behind and they, the scout will come and get you? He'll try to grab you? If you know about that, with you leave your friends behind, Scoutmaster Myers will come after you. This reference is to Scoutmaster Myers' lore, which is when he and his scouts crashed on the island, because multiple scouts have crashed on this island. When he crashed, he started guiding his troops through the forest. They got to the tropics. No, in Alpine. I believe in Alpine. They went to Alpine. He found this beautiful fruit that looked like a beautiful moon. He ate it and felt so relaxed he fell asleep, and his scouts left him behind to die. His scouts got to the peak and left the mountain, abandoning him. So now, he's on the mountain on his own, and has been so hell-bent on ensuring that no other scout is left behind in the future. So, yeah. There is your Scoutmaster Myers lore. It's really sad. Yeah, it's a really sad bit of lore for him. Yeah. It's a very sad bit of lore for Scoutmaster Myers. But, yeah. That's the lore of the Napberry in particular. Because the Napberry and linked quite heavily to Scoutmaster Myers, but if you eat... But basically, it's an item you can actually find in the peak. You find it in Alpine, I believe. And if you do, it will make you fall asleep. It will literally do what it says it does. You will fall asleep. Like, it will make you unconscious. I have only ever seen it in Alpine, and that was once before. I don't know if it's a common item or not, or if I'm just very blind, but I've never seen it before that one time. I think that was on stream, actually. And as soon as I got into contact with it, like, I got close. I'm sorry, I didn't recognize that music. But as soon as I got close to it, I started getting the sleepy effect immediately after getting too close. So it does actually give you the sleepy effect, and I think it will send you to sleep. By the way, if you get affiliate, do we get kangaroo emotes? I will 100%. Like, I know immediately Loon, who did my profile picture and the Mum Never TCG card. I'll just be messaging them like, hey, so, new commission. And that was rude. But yes, I will be doing a kitten. I would get Australian animals because it'd be silly. But I would 100% kangaroo would be one of them. I don't know what they would be, but it'd be really silly to do a kangaroo emote because why not? But I will be getting echidnas as well because Rose at one point made a very silly joke towards me, which was calling me the angry echidna getting a strawberry. So I think I will be getting. Oh yes, 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 yes. Come on, come on, come on. Australian wife, I think echidnas and echidnas. Come on, I need them to cook quickly. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Australian wife, I think echidnas and echidnas traditionally best emotes. Echidnas, kangaroos, that kind of thing. But like Australian wildlife would be so freaking cute, I think. And also, maybe some emotes of me. I don't know. I honestly feel really weirded out by the idea of having my own emotes of me. Maybe a koala. Maybe. The koala would not be holding purple. Let me give you that tip. The koala will never be holding purple. Mini lore that I will not delve to on stream. But, yeah. No, come on, get on there. Get on there. Thank you. But, okay, so we've eaten all of the items. We've eaten the 4 items I needed to eat. If I peek today, 1, with a Bing Bong plushie in my room, and 2, having eaten all these things, you're gonna get a very happy mini, because 1, I'm peeking with a physical Bing Bong plushie, and 2, I would have gotten the food achievement, which is something I've been trying to get for freaking months. But yes, I'm also really hoping, because if today is the day we get affiliate, I'm probably going to be so happy, because we'd be peaking as Ascent 3, getting affiliate, and that means, yes, I would be getting emotes and channel point redemptions and all that different thing, and I would be having a lot of fun with that. But obviously that'd be a very slow burner of getting things like sorted, because I don't have those things yet. But I'm so excited for potentially getting that, especially this soon, because I didn't expect to get affiliate this soon. I didn't expect to get affiliate, honestly. Will I have to abandon this rock face? That's my next question. The rock I'm standing on is getting a bit burny. Ah! Come on, come on, come on, come on. Get over. Ah! Friggin' hell. Hello? Booskaboo42 just discovered he was not following. And, Booska, are you deafened right now, sir? My good friend Booskaboo. My goodness. Well, thank you, Booska, for the follow. Love you lots, mate. Oh my gosh, this rock is on fire. That rock is on fire. Ooh, it's this one. Anyway, thank you for the follow, Booska, because I much appreciate. That is much appreciated. Very much appreciated. Thank you. Nope, 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 nope. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. No! Damn it! I did it stupid. And it's midnight on the dot! No! It's midnight right now! Oh, no! Okay, so Booska wasn't actually watching. Cool. Oh, damn! But yeah, damn. Oh, that's sad. I had eaten all the food, Metroid. I'd eaten all the food, and I didn't pee. Oh. Oh, no. Damn it. Anyway, that's really sad. I was so close. No. No. Wait, we need to do it properly. Where is the crash out? I'm gonna have a crash out. Just, no, I didn't get it. I was so damn close. Ah! Oh, that's sad. Anyway, I guess that's not happening tonight. Sadly. Four different days. Is it? Wait, is it? Analytic. That was my harm of create a dashboard. Oh, it is 3 average viewers on 4 different days. It is 3. Wait! Wait! Wait, so because you lot have been here for the entire meeting, I think that means I could be getting affiliate. I think that means I could be getting affiliate. There's no I don't have a notification on right now. I don't have a notification. But like, it doesn't say it yet. It hasn't registered. It still thinks I only got 24 followers when I have 25. I know that one. Like, I now have 26. And, okay, it says you should get an email within this few days. Okay, immediately I'm checking my email. I'm just gonna check my email, because why not? Booskaboo followed. Okay, there's nothing on there's nothing on Gmail yet. Um, but what? Oh, oh my gosh! That actually means I got a affiliate. Because for most of this, I've had 3 people and sometimes 4. Oh shit! Well, it's average viewers for the stream, and you haven't finished stream yet. That is true. And for most of this stream, quite a few of you have been here. Like Jay's been here, Metro's been here, you've been here, Buska, and then Prof joined later, and it's been 4 people for quite a while. But Gigs also came in for a bit, Rose came in for a bit, so I've had 3 viewers pretty much the whole time. Holy moly! Okay, so oh my gosh. Well, you'll know next time if I've got an affiliate, because you will hopefully see emotes. And, yes, I have. Buska, in my home, my Twitch home, it says 2 of 4 to hit affiliate. It thinks I have 24 followers. I don't. I have 25. And then I've streamed for 10 days in a month, 29.9 hours in a month, and I've had a minimum of 3 average viewers on 3 of the 4 different days. And with today, because that was before today, with today, that will be my 4th. Hopefully. Hopefully. But that is something. We've had 3 viewers for this whole stream though. We've had 3 viewers this whole stream. Holy moly. Oh shit. Oh. Okay, so I'll be updating you lot apparently by keeping an eye on my inbox for the next couple of days and just seeing if the Twitch affiliate program emails me. Because I will probably cry if they do. Oh gosh. If that actually happened. Damn. Freaking hell. Okay. Anywho. So, that's the stream. They grabbed some fast. Yes, I'm gonna check my spam. You know what? I'll check my spam while I'm at it now. Wait. No, that's Reddit. Never mind. There was one thing in my spam. It was Reddit. It was mentioning with Australia, we've gotten new laws stating that no one under the age of 16 can have social media. That's a new law in Australia. And I thought for a split second that was my Twitch. No, it was the Reddit page going, hey, Australians under the age of 16 will lose their Reddit account. For example, that's the first notification I got when I looked at Twitch. It said if you are someone under the age of 16, your Twitch account will be deleted on the 6th of January. But that is a new law rolling out in Australia. I'm over the age of 16, obviously, so I'm keeping my Twitch account very gladly. But yeah. I might have hit that today. I might have hit that today. Gosh damn. Holy moly. Anyway, so we're going to go ahead and potentially raid someone. If so, we're going to go into the chatting screen because we are just chatting at this point. We're just chilling and chatting. So let's switch over. I'm going to end the game. And we're just going to chill for a second. Does anyone... We're going to do a little raid. Because why not? And because of that, I want to ask, who do you think we should raid? Is there anyone in particular? Because, well, have some fun. And also potentially be yelling at someone. Yeah, no. Why did my headphones just turn off? Rude. My headphones just turned off. Interestingly. Yeah, my headphones fully turned off. Anyway, Gray didn't even show up for me. What? Oh, the ban message. Yes, for those wondering, I got a little likely ban evader restricted message saying, "Hey mate, your stream is pretty and cool. That is why I followed, and I can see that people are not showing up on your stream. Would you mind me adding me up on Discord to promote your channel? My username is this." That's fun. Anyway, are we gonna go ahead and raid someone? If so, who would we like to raid? You get like one of those per stream, Metroid, roughly. Okay. Yeah, they have a stupid delay, which is annoying. But who would we like to raid today? Oh. And that is a huge delay, I'm noticing. I just heard the delay in my stream. Oh, okay, so let's see. Who is currently live? Let's look. Okay. Is there anyone in particular we know of? Anyone follows? Who is a smaller streamer? Or anything else that we would like to raid tonight? To potentially celebrate this little fiesta of mini Might Have Hit affiliate? Rosecumber. Roscumber. Who is this? This is interesting. Is this someone you follow, Metroid? I've got this little thing with myself, Metroid, something silly, which is I'm going to limit myself to never raid someone with over 100 viewers. So I would like to kind of spread the love to people who've got less than or whatever, just because why not? Like, small viewers for each other, and we can help with everyone growing. I don't know. I just thought it was silly. Gosh damn it. Where's the raid thing? There was a raid box before. Reward request. Sorosu. Jedi Sorosu. Jedi Sorosu. May. Hello. How are you? How are you, Jedi? You picked the worst point to join. I am about to end stream. I'm ending the stream. Ah! My goodness. Drove 10.5 hours. Damn, dude. What the heck? That is insane. Oh my goodness. It's absolutely insane. Absolutely insane, Jedi. Finals ended at 4:30 p.m. Drove 10.5 hours north to my girlfriend's. Will take one day to rest today and drive the remaining 9 hours. Oh my gosh! What the heck? Yikes! Oh, that hurts. Goodness gracious me. Anyway. Oh goodness. Florida to Chicago is a long way. You are crazy, Mr. Soros. Yes, he is. He is Mr. Crazy. Mr. Soros is Mr. Crazy Man. One layer to go on the tunnel, Rise and Iowa. Ooh, nice. I will get online in a minute to wildcard and just come join you guys. Of course, not streaming. By then. Would bother flying okay? Like, so much money and hassle. Can't like the way I want. That is fair. That is very fair. Good. Ray went from Florida to California. Yeah. Okay, so I would love if my PC shows me the little rate button. Add remove widget. What? Jedi Minma. Jedi Min. Oh, Jedi Mini may or may not have got an affiliate potentially today. Potentially. I could potentially have gotten an affiliate today. Potentially. So I will be monitoring my email like a hawk because if I have, yes, Metroid is the queen of typos. She is also the queen of pissing off Automod. Yes, I could have very well gotten affiliate today. There's no email. I will be checking that so thoroughly. But yeah. Yeah, that's something. I love Metroid crashing out. One, from Automod, and secondly, I think from me or Jedi? I don't even know. Let's look. Thank you, finally. I found the thing I needed to get somehow I wasn't in stream view, like my stream manager. This isn't stream manager. Oh, I'm in moderator view. Okay, see you later, Prof. The boy. And we are looking for the channel Metroid recommended. Let me look for this. Rose Cumber, 117, just chatting. Missing. Okay. Do we want to go raid Rose Cumber? Rose Cumber? I don't know how to pronounce the name. Yeah? Should we do that? Should we go over and raid Rose Cumber? The Rosathon. Okie dokie. Do we want a particular raid message or anything particular? Or are we just gonna have some fun and chill? We'll just do hashtag Minerva raid maybe? Anywho. And we'll go raid Rose Cumber through Metroid's recommendation. I hope you all had a lovely time and a lovely rest of your evening. Okay. Have a lovely rest of your evening, morning, afternoon, whatever time it is for you in the world. And yeah, I'll see you guys later. We'll start up that raid. And stream. Have a lovely rest of your day, guys. Bye!